right now, like I would love to be in a position where I say, okay, guys, you want to watch my content? It's only on LBRY. But the reality is that at the moment, you know, YouTube has such a giant team and such a seamless product that overwhelmingly the majority of my viewers and income comes from there. So if I cut off YouTube and no longer support that, it's a very difficult position for me. I go from 34,000 subscribers to 4,000 subscribers, or however, you know, many there are. So
pivoting to the decentralized platform type thing, and there's almost no decentralized platform. Let's be very clear about that in terms of like something that's actually like pretty much like LBRY is like the only thing that
and LBRY is awesome.
Actually puts stuff on the blockchain. But for the purposes of this, how about like crypto platforms could be any kind of centralized thing that just like tokenize, like a say a Publish 0x or like a read.cash or whatever, like kind of thing. So first off, how many of those things do you kind of, you know, for lack of a better term, spam to? Or is it just like a couple, like you're on all of them, just like cross promote on everyone?
Yeah.
And then is there any actual like organic engagement or how much broad strokes, how much organic engagement and actual profitability is there from these kinds of decentralized platforms, whether they are or not?
Yeah, and we can, decentralization obviously is a spectrum. And as you hit the nail on the head, LBRY is really the only one that is really decentralized at the moment. But that being said, there are lots of like very pro free speech platforms where if I put my video, I know that it's not going to get taken down as long as I'm not doing anything illegal. That sort of stuff is important. Like culture around a platform is important to me.
Monetized without KYC.
Yeah,
it's kind of like those.
Exactly. Yeah. So I lump all of those in together. I wouldn't necessarily call them decentralized, but I'll call them alternative platforms and platforms that I respect. So I try to test out all of them. There's tremendously different culture from one platform to the next. Like I have a huge amount of haters on memo.cash. It's crazy. I get a lot of nasty comments, mainly initiated by this one person who, as I said, is obsessed with hating me and just like everything. So I muted him. I used to get joy in like pressing the unmute button and just seeing like, what's he said this time? But then they got old real quick. So now they're just muted. But something like, you know, read.cash, it's a really cool innovation. It's just like Medium, but I get paid in Bitcoin Cash, which is really nice. Things like Steam, I'm not sure the future of because everything is kind of just hit the fan there.
I sort of switched to Hive in the meantime. Or
I mean, I used to get like, I was getting like $25 a post for Steam It, which is great for content creators. And now I don't get that much. So I have to figure out like what's happening there and what the future is there. Voice, I haven't really looked into yet. That's something that I want to check out.
Yeah, except you need to present your government ID in order to join. So
do you really?
Yeah, which I never did to join Facebook. Just letting you know. And I have an Instagram imposter floating around there messaging people. And Instagram wants my ID. And I'm like, I guess people are going to have to just deal with imposter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. And then what else am I on? So minds.com, I think is just a really nice platform that posts. It has just visually, it's really nice. I post everything on Float, again, not decentralized, but they're really trying to provide alternatives. They're very pro-free speech. They have a Bitcoin subscription model, so people could become a member. I can put out members-only posts, which is a really nice feature. I'm looking forward to LBRY getting that feature, actually. That'll be cool when they have members-only stuff.
Yeah, LBRY has per view type things. I don't know if that's on LBRY TV yet or if it's only on the client, but that would be a nice thing to do, like another way of doing things, like for example, say early access only for subscribers or pay-per-view on LBRY for like 50 cents or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And then BitChute. So that's an interesting site. I'm a big fan of BitChute because they provided an alternative way back when no one was really providing video alternatives. And they provided such an easy sync model that I could just upload to my YouTube and it's automatically synced to BitChute. And that means that if YouTube ever deletes content, it is preserved on BitChute. So I appreciated them for that. That being said, the community on my channel on BitChute, I get so much more like nastier comments on BitChute than I do on YouTube. And it's funny because I don't have the same ability to moderate the comments to kind of cultivate a certain culture. So it's like whatever people post is just there, you know? And so it's like vitriolic sometimes. But that being said, like still big fan of BitChute just because I really like that they're offering alternatives. You know, there are like platforms like that are just minds.com or Steam or whatever. It's great that there's social media alternatives, but I'm still posting a link from my YouTube or something else. It's really only BitChute and LBRY that provide an alternative for actually posting videos. I've tried out before like DLive. I did not have a good experience, stopped almost immediately. Also, I tried some of the Steemit platforms that were video based. Again, not a good experience.
Yeah, that was my kind of experience too. I tried DTube. I can't figure out DTube because it keeps changing.
Yeah, right.
DLive, I do podcasts too, and then they just aren't saved. So my 0 followers see them and then they go away. So
I know.
whatever. And I tried Streamanity, which was the BSV version, which I don't mind trying those things, whatever. But it just said like, oh, send contact support to create a channel. I'm like, nah. You know, just gotta go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of alluded to that this is, you still try to throw everyone into YouTube. You still prop up, you know, the abusive partner that comes and smacks you every time it comes home from work or whatever.
Yeah, I'm holding the hand that's holding me down. It's true, because if I were to make a stand right now, like I would love to be in a position where I say, okay, guys, you want to watch my content? It's only on LBRY. But the reality is that at the moment, you know, YouTube has such a giant team and such a seamless product that overwhelmingly the majority of my viewers and income comes from there. So if I cut off YouTube and no longer support that, it's a very difficult position for me. I go from 34,000 subscribers to 4,000 subscribers, or however, you know, many there are. So if my main aim, I mean, I have multiple aims. One of them is to change the world and support all the systems that are doing awesome things. I try to do that by promoting them. But if I'm doing that by promoting them just to an audience that's already on them, I feel like I'm not having the impact that I could. If I'm promoting these platforms to an audience that is still using mainstream products, I think that I can have a much bigger impact.
Yeah,
my main aim is to talk about things that I think are important and have them seen by the vast majority of people. And I wish I could be in a position where I could cut off other platforms and say, you don't deserve my business. Like maybe one day when I have 1 million subscribers, I can do like a PewDiePie, you know, middle finger to YouTube and say, hey, I'm only streaming on DLive or whatever. I'm nowhere near that at the moment. So I am still holding the hand that holds me down. I'm using YouTube because it provides me the biggest audience, and that's where I can reach the most number of eyeballs.
So quick little mental calculation for you then. Obviously, when you're talking about cutting off, you know, the YouTube tumor entirely, that's, you know, a giant chunk. No way is that possible. Now, think about if you say did that and then you just threw all your energy into promoting the usage of the other platforms. I'm sure your usage of the other platforms, your fan base on that would grow a little bit as a result of just leaning all your energy into that.
By people who are already on those platforms, though.
Yeah.
How will I reach audiences and bring them into that platform's ecosystem without branching outside of the ecosystem?
Yes, that's true. Now, how about, what do you think so if you just leaned everything into that, and I don't necessarily mean not doing on YouTube anymore, but not relying on YouTube for revenue at all. If you just kind of said, everyone, you go here, this is how you get paid kind of thing. And the resulting bump, what percentage of the way there is that to being enough, do you think?
For me, from a revenue point of view, from me saying, explain a little more, like you mean exclusively over there, or just putting it there in advance, or what's
or basically being the decentralized, or like, you know, what I would say, censorship resistant platforms or whatever with non-fiat revenue kind of. those, including, well, let's just, include, say, Patreon in it, even though that is fiat, but it's like a manual thing that you figure out. All that stuff, how close, and just anticipating, say, a certain bump from just leaning into those and abandoning the old funding model. How far towards being enough do you think that is? Like, what percentage?
I think we have a long way to go.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's kind of the message, is everyone needs to start leaning into these other things to make them a lot more viable, because
well, I mean, what I've been encouraging, rather than saying like, come over here, you'll earn tiny little amount, but it's worth it, and just because you're supporting something noble, I've tried to steer away from that message. My message is, hey, you're a content creator, it's really hard to make revenue anywhere. Why not put your stuff on 10 platforms and earn $1 on each of them, rather than, just putting it on one? So I've been sort of hedging my bets that way, and I've managed to grow significant communities across multiple platforms just by consistently putting all of my content out across all of them. And I think that the communities are still trying to figure out, platforms are still trying to work out kinks and figure out what they are going to be. Users are still trying to work out, like, navigate which one's my community, which one do I want to focus on. Content creators should be leading into all of them, I think, at the moment. And honestly, like, it may get to a point where they decide, okay, well, Hive really is the platform for me. I found that I had the most impact there. I had the most viewers. For some reason, I really took off there. I'm just going to focus on that. That's totally a decision that individuals can make. And I think that, like, a message for most content creators would just be like, don't ignore the alternative platforms out there. Start to grow a community, because 1, you never know when your channel is just going to be deleted. 2, you never know when it's going to be demonetized. 3, you can reach an entire different audience. Some people watch my content only on LBRY.com. They know that I put it on all these platforms. They're not going to watch it on all these platforms.
Now it'd be me.
LBRY
I definitely, anything that anyone who I know and I see them on YouTube and LBRY, I just only watch on LBRY.
I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool that users are choosing which one's their preferred platform. And I think the market will start to, shift market share around, especially as YouTube becomes more, totalitarian in terms of their censorship and whatever. Maybe users will start to migrate to areas where they can see something outside of the echo chamber, where they can actually follow people that they like, and they'll actually get notifications, rather than following someone and never receiving a notification, because sometimes YouTube just, makes those silent and doesn't let you know when people are live or whatever. So yeah, I think that as far as I'm concerned, I'm not at a stage where I'm particularly drawn to one particular platform that I want to invest all my energy. It's the same with cryptocurrencies. I think there's a tremendous amount of good tech innovation out there, and I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on and support, everywhere, wherever I can, and let people know about what's going on in the ecosystem. So if I can keep letting people know about what's available out there and keep bringing new content creators in, they don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't have to leave previous platforms to try new ones, but just try out the new ones. Start building a community, because I think that it's tremendously important just to hedge yourself against decisions that these big companies could make. Furthermore, you could hit a niche that really takes off with these smaller communities. YouTubers, like, they all have very different cultures, all these platforms. If you're not trying them out, you could be missing a big part of your market base. And I think that you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, for sure. I do notice that Trevon James is pretty big on LBRY. What would your final sort of words of advice be to a prospective crypto content creator out there?
All right. So I'm going to tell you to go to my CoinTree page.
Yes. Before you get into the final thing, I almost forgot. Okay. CoinTree.
CoinTree.
Sponsor this video is sponsored by CoinTree. I wish.
Videos sponsored by CoinTree.
So if you do cointr.e.
I know, it's really hard to tell. I thought it would be so easy, because it's like, just go to CoinTree, and they're like, cointree.com. I'm like, no, cointree.e.
Not coin.tree, but
no, it's just cointr.ee. That's the website. And And it's a place where, for content creators, first of all, it has all of the donation addresses, because for me, I have over 400 videos. Every time an address goes stale, that means that I now have to go back through 400 videos and delete it and put in a new crypto address. I have videos from 2013 where I still haven't changed it out. If someone goes and watches one of those videos and it's like, I'll send her a tip, and they go to the description, it's likely an address that I have no access to anymore, you know? So
you're just paying the void.
Paying the void. So CoinTree is a place where you can put your crypto addresses in one place. So all I have to write is CoinTree/Naomi Brockwell on all my videos, and they click on that. They have all the currencies that I accept. Also, I hate writing like, hey guys, if you want to pay in Ether, this is my address. If you want to pay in Monero, this is my address. If you want to pay in Dash, this is my address. And it goes on for like 10 coins or whatever. And it's just like, it just makes your video description look bad. It's just messy. It's just really not efficient when it comes to replacing those, because I'm someone like, I'm really a privacy advocate. I don't like reusing addresses. Every time I put out an address, I'm going to want to delete that at some stage and replace it with something else. So on my CoinTree, anytime someone sends me a payment through one of those addresses, I just switch it out, you know, as often as I want to, or I could just leave it there. All people do is click on a button and it enables you to send money to that address. Also donations. This was a huge thing that was really, really bothering me about crypto, is that people would say that they sent me a donation. Like I would receive, for example, I have this cool Iozetta candy machine, and people would send money to it and it would activate and chocolate would come out. So it'd be like midnight and suddenly I'd hear, and I'd be like, oh, someone just sent chocolate to my candy machine. And I'd run out to the kitchen and like eat the chocolate. I had no way of knowing who sent that. No way of knowing, because the wonderful thing about crypto addresses is you just send a payment. It's kind of pseudo-anonymous.
You can employ some chain analysis.
Yeah, there's no
jump in
way.
there and be like, thank you, John Smith of Alberta, Canada, for this. And then,
there's no way that I could efficiently thank the people who are sending me this stuff without just writing another generic tweet that says, hey, thanks whoever that was. And that's very ungratifying as well, to send something and not get personal response. So CoinTree, when you send a donation, you can actually send a message and it goes to the person's email address. And soon it'll come up, it'll be on a wall if you want to send like a public one. It's not released yet, but at the moment you can send a message along with your donation. So if you're like, hey Naomi, I'm activating your crypto candy machine, love from Joelle, then I'll receive that email. I'll be like, you're the one who bought me chocolate last night. You're my favorite person in the world. So
what would be funny, and of course I'm always thinking about how to break things. What if someone started like sending you donations of some dust and just say, your face is horrendous. Then or just like start trolling using little like dust donations. Anyway, sorry for giving the internet that idea, but someone was going to get that anyway. So
someone was going to get that anyway.
Just tell your developer to get on figuring that out.
Absolutely. Well, no, that was always an issue for me with receiving donations. I want to be able to thank people who send it, and they would have to send two things. That's cumbersome for the user. If I'm sending a donation, I don't want to then send an email that seems very self-serving to be like, hey, I just sent you a donation. Give me thanks, please. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I want people to let people know this way. You could just send a note and say, hey, I really liked your show, whatever. But the other thing that was leading me into like, what's my advice for people? So on your CoinTree page, it's also a place, because this is kind of a site that's geared towards people who make their money from community, whether it's through donations or ongoing support or whatever, or whether it's through putting out content. And so it's important that people know where to find you and that those are your legitimate addresses. So on your CoinTree page, you can list all of your social media pages. And this is your Minds, your read.cash, your memo.cash, your whatever. It's all listed there. So you can add every social media site that you are on. And that way people can go and find all of your content there. If you're like, oh, Naomi, where's your link for that video? I want to watch the LBRY version, but I can only find the link to the YouTube. Just go to my CoinTree page. Just click on LBRY and it'll take you directly to my page. So it's just I would encourage if content creators are out there and not trying out these platforms, just go have a look at what websites I'm on. Go to my CoinTree. I have them all listed. If you're not testing out all of those, I think you're leaving money on the table and you're leaving community on the table and opportunity opportunity on the table that you don't need to be. So go and check out all of those. There's a lot out there. People don't realize how much stuff is out there. As I said, I've got all of the stuff that I'm on listed there. As new platforms come up and I test them out, we'll just add them to the CoinTree site. If there are platforms that we haven't added to the CoinTree site, just let me know, and I'll check it out myself, and I'll also add it there. So yeah, I think that there are going to be increasingly tools for content creators as the world becomes more virtual, and we'll have to see what happens there. I'm hoping that it becomes easier for people to monetize in this space. I personally have found that it has been getting easier because the market is testing out all these cool new ways, different ways, whether it's like, you know, Patreon model type stuff, whether it's Steam It, where like an earmarked portion gets distributed, direct money sending, like something like Read.cash. All of them have like a slightly different business model. Minds, which has their own token, LBRY, which has their own token. They're all kind of these very different models, but I think all this experimentation is a really good thing, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Yes, and have you used Twitch before, by the way?
I haven't.
Okay.
Should I? I've heard mixed reports.
I'm gonna say for you, probably no. And
I just get so much hate from BSV people. I don't think I'd
yes,
find any community there. Like, to be honest, I'm open to looking at the product. Again, I'm open-minded about this stuff. There's a lot I don't like about BSV, but I'm open-minded and I want to test this stuff. But I feel like I have no chance of community there because I get such vitriolic hatred from the BSV community. So yeah. I just don't see what benefit it would be to me.
The reason I'm missing Twitch is because I'm going to do at some point probably a video or review of the economic model of doing it, of charging relatively high fees to post things. And then if people like them and then share them, then you get part of that back. So it's like, it's not just you spit out into the void and then maybe people like it. It's, if your stuff doesn't do well, you lose money. If it does well, you kind of gain money.
Yeah.
And it's like this interesting model and what that, but yeah, as you said, the way these models work, I think is fascinating how it works for user behavior. And speaking of like doing future content and stuff and promoting this on a video that someone's going to later say, hey, whatever happened to that? And I'm like, oh no. And then I'll have to remember to do it. At some point, I'm kind of documenting my journey into trying to grow like content, you know, like the content creator, the crypto YouTuber, whatever you want to call that kind of thing. And as I'm doing, I'm kind of taking notes. And at some point I'm going to put out some like video or something on like, here's how to do it. You're like the discipline part of it is in like check every networks, make sure you engage on these ones at least once a week. Make sure you have a checklist that you do that. Make sure.
Yeah, I have like an Excel spreadsheet of every video I've put out since 2017 and every platform that I put it out. And as I put out a video, I just highlight that section to make sure that it's on that platform. And it's like now to get to
great minds think alike. I'm on Trello.
But yeah, I got to like scroll to get to the bottom now because I have too many videos. But it's helpful doing that stuff.
So that would be my content creator advice: is keep track of things. In, you know, stay organized. Like 7 a.m. wake up, 20 push-ups, brush teeth, go to, you know, just keep it organized and just disciplined. As far as like, I got to create this much content, I got to share it on these platforms, I got to engage on this, all that stuff. Your turn.
Well,
close this whole thing out.
No, I just want to point out what you said was really smart about tracking everything, because you can't monitor and figure out how to grow things if you're not tracking it. So track your growth, like what videos, you know, what time you put it out, what videos did better than others, what time, you know, just keep track of your numbers and your growth, because if you're not monitoring it, if you're not keeping track of that, it's not going to increase. And when I first started tracking things, that's when I started to see noticeable gains on my channel.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is your LBRY views, just use as an easy example, are okay. Most people that just do the auto publish from YouTube to LBRY get like 4 views. And it's like I lean into LBRY and I get a lot more views than most super popular crypto YouTubers do on LBRY, just because of that. And then they have a bunch of comments and they haven't answered any of them. And I'm just like, I'm like checking it all the time. Is there a new comment? New comment? No, new comment. Sip a copy. New comment.
So I'm waiting. Like, the good thing about BitChute, and that's why I sometimes prefer that over LBRY. And again, I'm not being paid by any of these, so I can be honest about this stuff. Whenever I get a BitChute comment, I get an email. and it's super helpful. I get no notification, and I'm sorry, but when I'm on 15 platforms, I don't have time to make videos and also, just in case, check out everything every day to make sure that, you know, there hasn't been some engagement. So when I'm not notified of something, I don't check it. When I am notified of it, you can bet that I check it and I reply to it. But if I'm not notified, it sort of goes to the void. So that's one thing that I'd like to see LBRY get better, the notification system.
I believe they're working on that too.
I hear, yeah. It's
the last thing, speaking on working of things, what else is there to look forward to on CoinTree, as if it wasn't magnificent enough as it is?
Yeah, so there are some very cool tools for regular income for content creators. So this is a platform that is geared towards, like, how do we help you monetize your content? How do we help you monetize your work if you're someone that relies on community support? So making it easier for people to find where to donate to you. You know, if I wanted to send money to a dev, it's annoying. I have to go and find, like, maybe their GitHub, maybe they have something there, maybe they don't, maybe it sends me a link to their website. You know, you got to sort through it. Just a page where you know that when you go there, you know how to contact them. I think that's super important. A way to let people know when they've been sent money through just a message, I think is super important. Having all of the websites all written there, the same, so that you know where to find them, I think is important. And then, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know whether to talk about, like, the next thing there. But I just think, like, if there are things, if there are things that you as content creators find valuable and you want to see in a platform, let me know, because this is what CoinTree is. It's just a tool. It's free, completely free, just a community project to help content creators find a way to make their work sustainable. There are some things being rolled out at the moment. You'll have to wait and see what they are. But if there are other things, just reach out to me and let me know, and then we can talk about how we might be able to work that into the site.